Here's everything I can find wrong with this bathroom remodel so you don't have to learn the hard way. Starting with the flooring transition, measure twice, cut once, always simple, never easy. Don't forget to undercut your door jambs. This flooring should be underneath the door jambs. Now, it'd be nice if these receptacles were in the same box, but if you can't do that, at least get the exact same size cover plates. Also, remember to caulk your baseboards. You can see how much of a difference it can make. In this particular situation, it looks like they're pulling it away from the wall. They might be struggling with water damage. You can see this discoloration here. If you wanted to cover it up, you'd need to use a shellac-based or oil-based primer. Now, if you wanted to cover this gap up, because they cut the plank too short of the wall, you'd need to use a piece of quarter round or shoe molding. Now, they did save some money on the baseboards behind the toilet. Maybe they were making room for the waste bin, but they didn't plan enough to fit the waste bin. And you do have to do a lot of planning to get everything I'm about to show you right. Technically things will fit, like this light fits, but it's a little low relative to the mirror here. So something's got to give. And you can see that here, tile is flush to the wall here, but as you move up the wall, you see a large gap. And on this side of the bathroom, there's probably a ½ inch gap between the wall and the tile. That's because walls are bowing and they're narrowing. Showers like this are more like parallelograms than rectangles. And you can see that in this sliver as it gets bigger, as it moves towards the high corner. That's a tell of an inexperienced tile setter, because all of this is avoidable with planning. For example, the sill here. It doesn't cover this tile, and I'll explain why that's important in a second, but it's beveled on one edge and not here. It's not designed for this application. The curb is too wide. They needed something narrower for this piece to let water drip over the edge. And the reason that's important, you'll see here, they installed the pan after the walls. You would like the water to pool in sheets and go on top of the tile towards the drain. Now, water is going to get through the grout no matter what. And the pan is going to be waterproof, so it's not that big of a deal. But in the area of the curb, you definitely want the tile over top of the curb, because this is a big issue with water intrusion. You often see studs rotted out in this spot of the shower. Also, shout out to Gold Star Inspections. That ain't right. This also ain't right. The sheets, these are tricky to place. It takes some skill to get this gap even and perfect. It actually helps to look at the sheet placement on your phone. It's easier to spot than in person. But what you can also see in person, they made a mistake on this tile, it broke, and they decided to reuse it. They thought no one would notice, but often people do notice, particularly if they install tile for a living. A mistake that tile guys don't typically make, be this lippage here. Now, it can be tough to get large pieces of tile to sit flush. And so the way you work around this, one advantage you can have is to stack the tile so that the pattern is right on top of each other. So if the cheaper tile is bowing, then all of the bowing aligns with itself. But this placement in general is a little awkward. You got two pieces and then it kind of cuts a corner here and not over there. This could have been done better. Now, when you do make permanent cuts, you want to make sure that your trim pieces, your escutcheons, and your trim kits are going to cover all those holes. You can see the remnants of any kind of mistakes left behind. Now, the reason they were probably drilling into the tile here was for a shower rod. And the reason they needed a shower rod is the panel doesn't cover it all. People get cold often. And this is a kind of a quick fix, but it's not very aesthetically pleasing. I've done this both ways. It's something to think about. Also something to think about, the grout in these corners are going to crack. You can see the cracks here. You can use a siliconized grout. Again, it's not the end of the world because This should all be waterproofed behind here, but what else can we find in here? I think that might be it.